And welcome to another episode of Taboo Talk, featuring your own pastor, me, Lady Charmaine Day. Today's show is guaranteed to be full of sensitive, intimate, natural conversations rarely talked about in the Christian community. So now get ready for your spiritual consultation. Great. Are you ready? Let's begin. How are you doing, beautiful? I know you are great, phenomenal, special, marvelous, incredible, because those are all adjectives I use to describe you. Yes, you. You simply are phenomenal, precious, and special. You take time to help nurture and guide other people, and you're kind. In this world, when people are not being kind, you take the time to be kind. So let me give you a warm round of applause for being so nurturing and kind. Yay! Thank you. Thank you for all that you do. God works through people, and He's working through you to be a blessing to others, and you're making God look great. Continue doing the great work that you're doing. I have a few announcements for beginning the show. Please download onto your Android, iPhone, the Lady Charmaine Day app. This is my gift to you for tuning into the ministry and being a part of the ministry. The Lady Charmaine Day app is free and available in iTunes, App Store, and the Play Store. Thank you. Thank you. The Lady Charmaine Day app has features that allow you to call from the phone, to ask me to pray for you. I will pray with you and tell you what scriptures I'm standing on. You can listen to all 319 episodes of Taboo Talk radio show. You can watch all 6 of the new virtual shows, and you can read my blog. There's also a book there for you to read in your spare time. So please download for free the Lady Charmaine Day app today. Also, when you have a chance, please visit www.ladycharmaineday.com. There you can visit my blog, read more about this ministry, learn more about Taboo Talk, see this virtual show, and you can also see my Facebook fan page. And while there, please visit the store to make a purchase. It's through your purchases that I'm able to continue to do my ministry. My ministry is done online through this virtual show, through my radio show, through my social media, and through my app and website. So if you're following me through one of those mediums, I consider you a part of the ministry, and I pray for you all the time. And my last announcement for beginning the show said thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. It's because of you tuning in and watching faithfully that allows me to do this show. So thank you for being the greatest part of the show. And today we are in for a treat. Do you hear me? I've known Christina for years, and Christina is a living legend. And let me tell you about Christina Sparrock. About Christina. Christina is a fierce believer in the potential and creativity of those with mental illness. Christina survived a harrowing and abusive upbringing, coping not only with her mental illness and trauma, but those of many family members. To empower herself and to strive for success, Christina channeled her energy into building a promising finance career in the corporate and non-for-profit sector. In 2004, after being racially discriminated by a prominent organization, Mrs. Sparrock's legal action was used to support the research for the first legislation of President Barack Obama called the Ledbetter Fair Pay Act 2009, which he signed on January 29, 2009. Resilient is Christina's mantra. By 2013, Christina became the Deputy Bureau Chief of Finance, reporting at the National Office of New York City Comptroller under John Lewis administration. After years of personal struggle of mental illness and trauma, Christina made a career change from a CPA to full-time mental health advocate. Her mission is to help destigmatize mental illness, bring awareness of trauma, and to educate the public that those of us with these conditions are people with the same dreams, aspirations, and successes as others. In 2015, Mrs. Sparrock received a Joint Certificate of Recognition by the New York City Department of Mental Health and by the New York NYPD Crisis Intervention Training, CIT. As a member of an advocacy coalition, she successfully lobbied her New York State Senator, Kevin Parker, for the initial state funding and for a bill to establish CIT training. Recently appointed to serve on Mayor de Blasio's New York City Crisis Prevention and Response Task Force, Ms. Sparrock helps to identify system improvements in mental health at various intercepts within our current systems to aid people in crisis. Mrs. Sparrock serves an advisory group on behavioral health and criminal justice. She also served as the former vice chair of the Consumer Advisory Board of the New York City Bureau of Mental Health of the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, where she advised and offered suggestions on how to better mental health programs. As a member of the Criminal Justice Committee on the New York City Community Special Board, Mrs. Sparrock participated in the drafting of the local service plan. For her dedication and steadfast commitment to the mental health community, New York State Senator Parker presented Ms. Sparrock with the 2018 Health Award for the New York State Black and Puerto Rican Legislatures, Inc. Currently, she serves as a New York State board member of Citizen Action of New York, a grassroots membership organization that fights for social, racial, and environmental justice in New York City. Ms. Sparrock is also on the steering committee of Correct Crisis Intervention. Today, New York City, CCIT New York City, an organization that fights for non-police responses to mental health, Ms. Sparrock holds a BS in accounting from Hunter College, and in her spare time enjoys exercising and taking salsa and hustle lessons. Help me help you by welcoming this phenomenal woman who is a living legend in our very own time. Hello, beautiful. How are you doing, Christina?
Hi, Lady Charmaine. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to actually read that long bio, but I really do appreciate it. And thanks for having me here today. And in the midst of the pandemic, I'm happy to be alive and to be able to continue my community and advocacy work. And I'm so excited that you invited me for the National Minority Mental Health Month, because as a child, being surrounded by members in my family who live with mental health issues, they were untreated, and I learned how to have those emotional outbursts, and they were okay. And I wish as a child that I had the opportunity for some people to show me better ways to deal with my mental health, so I wouldn't have a lot of challenges when I was growing up. So on a personal note also, I'm forever grateful to you, Lady Charmaine, for giving me the training back at NAMI in Our Own Voices back in, what was it, upstate somewhere?
Yes.
Giving me the courage to share my story and living my dream for the past 10 years. So I thank you very much, Lady Charmaine.
Christina, you're welcome. And it's a joy to see you 10 years later being on top of the mental health advocacy situation and doing your thing. You are so powerful. I love getting your emails, hearing where you're going and what you're doing and how you're doing so much to change the way things are. And that's why I had you on the show today as a last and final guest for Minority Mental Health Month. I wanted to end the show on a bang, and you definitely are a highlight. And I also wanted people to see that you can have a mental health condition and you can have dreams and you can do so much. And what I would love for you to share with us, Christina, is your 21 pearls on how to have good mental health so that we can help that child who you were when you were little have a way to know what's good and how to have good mental health.
So my 21 is the self-responsibility. Now, we all know as growing up, the crap happens in our house and it affects us too. Sometimes our parents do off the wall stuff that we don't understand, and we actually role play those behaviors when we grow up. But a self-responsibility, when you start noticing that, you become a product of that negative environment, start making changes. And it could be hard, But, you know, when something happens, you have to look into yourself and say, okay, fine, is it always the other person or is it always the other thing? Stop blaming other people or other situations. Start seeing how you can actually make that change and accept responsibility for your own actions.
Christina, that is such a powerful pearl. And to begin there was so powerful, because if we don't take responsibility for ourselves and our own actions, then we'll grow up thinking it's okay to do whatever we want and there's no consequence.
Right.
You have to own yourself, own all of you. And once you own all of you, then you can do the right thing by you.
Right. Because it's growing up, it's like we think the things in our home are normal because we thought it's normal. Because if your parents say it's okay, then it's okay. It's normal. It's the norm. And then sometimes you get outside in the community and your work or friends and you realize, no, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. So just, you know, open up and say, hey, maybe, you know, I need to change. Let me start accepting responsibility. But yeah, thanks, Lady Charmaine.
Excellent, Christina.
So my next one, 20th, is stop making excuses and procrastinating. And I did that for a long time because it was normal for me in my childhood. Because I always said, as I got older, I never wanted to be in a wheelchair, just rocking in a wheelchair and saying, I wish I would have. I wish I would have. And so if you got to work on your health, start early. Stop eating that fried chicken and McDonald's every day because you know it's going to affect you when you get older. And invest in your finances. I know, like when I was growing up, like I was never taught how to have a savings account. And my girlfriend, when she was in 24, she knew how to save. She knew stock markets. And I was like, who taught you all of that? It was her parents. They taught her very young to stop making, to stop making excuses, stop making procrastinating. And another thing, like my father, he was in World War II. And he was afraid of flying because they tried to shoot down his plane. And because my father didn't want to fly, we all had to take the train or bus to go to Canada or to North Carolina. And that was hours. So you missed all that time flying to enjoy your vacation. And so when I got old enough, I took a fair flying class at American Airlines where I had a hypnotist and they gave you like a pilot to talk to, a group of people. And they helped me get over that anxiety and fear because I wanted to not procrastinate and make excuses for not traveling and seeing how beautiful the world was. So my first trip was, on March 24th, 2001. And ever since then I've been flying because that was my father's trip. Right. I had to own it and and I fly now. So I'm not making excuses anymore. So I tell kids, do you, if you want to live that dream, do you.
But I don't want us to miss the point that you made, which is an awesome one, which is stop procrastinating. Stop putting off till tomorrow what you could do today. Okay? Because see, we don't know what tomorrow holds. And I think the pandemic has shown us we definitely don't know what tomorrow holds. So all we got is today. So all those projects, all those dreams, all those goals, all those things you want to do, get started today.
Right. And I did it in 2004. I flew to Australia and it was beautiful. And I would never do it again now, but at least did it once and it was beautiful. So yeah, don't procrastinate.
Excellent.
Thank you. So number 19, recognize that you're a work in progress. I remember growing up and people telling me that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't, capable. And I didn't like that narrative and I wanted to keep evolving. So what I did is I continued to read books. And I remember in school, I failed a lot of my English classes. I did poor in communication, but I didn't give up because I knew I wanted to do better for myself. I was always resilient. I always knew that I could take it to the next level despite what the media said about Black and brown people, despite what my family said about me or other people. I knew that I was a caterpillar, but I wanted to be a butterfly. So I always knew I was a work in progress.
Amen. Amen. Oh, hold on. Amen. You are a work in progress. And that's such a precious pearl that you capture. That is, I don't want that to go over people's head. We all are God's work in progress. We're not perfect, but we are perfectly made. And therefore, we can strive to be the best us possible. And knowing that we're a work in progress means that you take it easy with you, that
Yeah.
you love and like you, but hey, you take it easy on you. And you say, I can do this and I will do this. And loving like you, and don't beat up on yourself and your mind. Negative self-talk is not good.
And what I also learned about being, when I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, it made me realize that I could still do the same things, but I have to do it at a different pace.
Yes.
Because like the so-called normal people want you to do everything at this pace. And maybe I can't, or maybe I can and do above, but it may not be healthy for me. I have to do it at the pace that I'm comfortable with, but I can still accomplish the same goals that I want to.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right.
So number 17, this is like a doozy. I think this affects everyone. Stay away from toxic people.
Woo! Well, mama, hey.
So what I've learned in life is look for quality, not for quantity. You don't need 10 million Facebook friends. You don't need to be Miss Popularity, because you put a lot of garbage in your life. Not everybody wants to be your friend. Some people just want to ride off your coattails. Some people want to blacklist you or hurt you. You got to be mindful. If they take out garbage in the street every Wednesday, you could take out garbage on your Facebook page every Wednesday.
Hello.
Yeah, so I had to learn it's about quantity. Quality, not about quantity. If you have to have 5 people that you're really close with, I think that's more important. And that comes from being hurt plenty of times. And you don't learn, you get hurt and hurt and hurt. And you still may make the same mistake at 70 or 80 years old, but you still have to continue to take inventory no matter what.
Let me tell you something. That is such a priceless pearl. Knowing that you have to get rid of toxic people, the earlier you learn that lesson and implement it, don't just hear it, okay? Don't just say, oh yeah, that's great, I like that, la, 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 and it goes in one ear and out the other. No, let this go in your ear, in your brain, let it marinate into your heart, into your soul, and implement it so that you won't be surrounded by people who are dragging you down and tearing at you and always picking at you and saying negative, nasty things to you. You don't need that in your circle. No, you need uplifting, positive, nurturing people who are going to say how beautiful you are and how wonderful you are and bring you up when you need it. So surround yourself with people like that, and you can't go wrong.
Right about that. You're right. Did you learn about that too at an early age too, or no?
No, I didn't learn about that until my 30s.
I know, we get older.
So I'm trying to tell people, don't make the same mistake I made. Trust me, I paid for it.
I know. And sometimes it's like what I like is about talking to older people because they're full of wisdom. And sometimes they learn from me too. I mean, everybody's learning from each other, older, young, or whatever. And I still learn from people 18 and 19, 20. And so, yeah, I think it's just when people are telling you something, planting some seeds, positive seeds in your life, hold on to them and let them blossom.
Yes, amen.
So my 16 would be follow your dreams. Now, too often, like in people who are Black and brown or poor or whatever your environment is, maybe even your family, where it doesn't matter the race, but you need to follow your dreams. I mean, I was born in the projects, and I remember listening to the news that people of color had the lowest Regent scores, or we were always associated with crime and all the negative things. And I remember my white grade school teacher telling my mom on parent-teachers night that I wouldn't amount to anything. He didn't say it in these exact words because I was a product of my environment, and my mother was arguing with him. And she only had a 4th grade education. And it really troubled me because I was only a kid, but it actually pushed me to do more, because my mom only wanted me to do certain type of work, like she did. She worked at a factory and then she started working for the city. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I value everybody's job, but there was something more that I wanted to do. And so like I said, I went to school, I went to college, and it was a challenge for me. But I wanted to do something more. So my teacher said, you're good at math, become an accountant. I said, okay, fine. So I go to school. Again, I failed all my English classes. Who fails remedial English? I do, right? But I aced all my math classes and accounting class, right? Had all the English tutors. I was like, whatever, I can't, like, whatever. So I passed, graduated from college, but I still felt I was incomplete. So I started studying for the Cpa exam, Certified Public Accounting exam. And I studied like 16 hours a day or something. And all I did was eat, because I was real skinny. So all I did was eat like, drink nutriments. And I had like this beef concoction. What was it? Is it Smoky Joe or something? With the whatever meat stuff, and every day, and all I went to the gym. So it was like eat, sleep, go to the gym, and study like 15, 16 hours a day. I don't know. I took the exam and I passed it.
Wow.
Because I prayed through the exam, because I remember I went to my pastor at church and I said, I want to pass it because it's in my heart, and I want God to give me the tools to pass this exam, because I wasn't the smartest kid in class and I know my limitations, but I can't do that to myself. I have to believe that God's going to give me that insight to pass that exam and strength. And he did. But it was funny because during the exam, I had a roll of toilet tissue next to me because I kept crying through the whole exam. And when I passed an exam at 24, and that was the first time I've ever felt smart in my life. Nice. So I always tell people, follow your dreams, no matter how hard it is. If you want to do it, just do it, because it'll be so rewarding in the long run. Don't let anybody take it away from you.
Amen. Amen. Follow your dreams. Let me tell you, sometimes we're told negative things and hurtful things as a kid, and we internalize that as the truth, our truth. But that's a lie. If someone told you you couldn't do something, or you're nothing, or you're nobody, they lied to you.
They do.
They lied. You are capable. You are credible. And you are incredible, and you can do anything you put your mind to. So Christina's pearl about following your dreams, no matter what they are, they're yours. God gave them to you. Implement them. Like she said earlier, stop procrastinating.
Yeah. And just like what you just said, when people tell you these things, they lie to you. A lot of times people are suffering from their own pain, and they like to transfer that to you. So like again, when we talk about quality versus quantity, you got to realize the people in your circle, the energy, because you do absorb their energy. If they're positive, you need to be around them, but the negative ones, get rid of them. I mean, have them as acquaintances on the side. Hey, business, you got to do business with them, but don't bring them in your personal life, because they will bring you down.
Amen.
Yeah. So number 15 is find a few mentors. I didn't have any mentors. I wish I did. I think that's one of the most important, because it's like, if you think about the decisions you made in your life, even as a kid, even as an adult, navigating the system, navigating politics, or just people, and even though you think you're right all the time, sometimes, like my doctor used to tell me, you want to be right or be effective, and I'm always trying to be right because I know I'm right? But sometimes it may not be good for that particular situation, because you may shoot yourself in the foot. So you need to find mentors to help you navigate the system, whether it's a job place, or dealing with your apartment housing or court or something, because some people are just mean and they may try to hurt you even if you're right. So find a few mentors, because it'll eliminate a lot of the sufferings. And what I suggest is find a diverse group of mentors. It could be different ages, education, race, because each one has a different skill set and experience that can help you.
That's so true. And I was blessed, Christina, to have mentors at an early age. Linda Michelle Barron took me on at age 9. Wow. And she encouraged me to write books, stay in school, go to college, do all the things I ended up doing. Is because she directly told me, you could do it. When I saw her, and I saw that she was a Black woman out there writing poetry just like me and writing books, I'm like, I can do that one day. And she's like, yes, you can, and you will. And I was like, you think so? And she said, yes. And that was Linda Michelle.
Yes, I recall.
And just having somebody say that I could do it and having faith in me gave me the courage to do it. So find a mentor. It will be a blessing to you.
No, it's true. It's true. Like I have a few now I'm grateful to, because you can get them at any age. So yeah, but I'm glad you got one in John, because if you she helped you with some of your battle wounds that you were able to prevent. So
Yes.
fantastic. So 14, it was like, think outside the box. Like I know, like at work, it's like if you sometimes we always get so used to doing the same thing, routine things all the time. And those routine things, you need to kind of break them up and figure out to be more creative. Sometimes it could get you further ahead. Like especially in the workplace, it's like when people, it could be a handicap at work if you don't think outside the box, because your jobs may say that you're limited in your performance. So I suggest people always, like when you're in work, just always keep being creative and showing your boss that you're creative. That gets you further in life.
Christina, that's the truth. And as an HR person, ex-HR person, I can tell you, we look for people to think outside the box, around corners and upside walls. So please, think outside the box. And in your own personal life, think outside the box. You know, be happy at home. Let your home life be whatever you want it to be. And if you're thinking outside the box, your home should be a place where you can create and you can feel good and you can feel happy. So you can think outside the box, outside and wherever you are.
Yeah, just like I just showed you the colors in my home, and they have, apricot colors and all earth tone colors. And usually, like, the counters are just normally known as like gray, black, and navy blue, And so when I started remodeling my house, it was like, I just can't just think about just those colors, because that's all we do. It's like debit and credit, black and white, very simple, gray, whatever. And so it's like, yeah, I'm glad I was able to like start adding colors to my life, because it just makes me feel better.
Amen, it does.
So number 13, this is also very important. Invest in the future. Again, as I mentioned before, as a child, I wasn't taught to have like a retirement fund or IRAs or anything. And I learned all that as I got older. And in certain communities, people teach their kids from day one, here's your trust fund. This is how you do. You save this. This is what you do. And how you save for your vacation. This is what you do. And I'm not saying buying Jordans every time Jordans come out. Get that account, investment account, save a few dollars over here, buy some real estate. Even if it's a room you have to rent out, start making rental income for yourself and for your family, investing in trust funds. Open a Robinhood.com account. You can learn how to invest your own money, $20 a month or whatever. Start now, start early, so you'll make your millions when you get older for yourself and for your family. And so you don't have to depend on the system, because the government will fail you.
Christina, that's so true, that you should invest in yourself early and often. Every time you make $1, at least 10 cents should go into savings or an investment that Christina just told you about.
Robinhood.com.
She said Robinhood.com. Hello, stick it in that brain. Robinhood.com. She dropping a jewel, a free jewel. Please get it.
So number 12, learn new things. And again, like, invest in yourself. Like, growing up, we only ate soul food, right? And I had a friend who only ate Jamaican food because his family was Jamaican. And sometimes you only eat the food in your house. And so when I went to college, I was like, oh, I don't want to eat your food. Because it's different. It smells funny. It's that. But that's not right, So I started learning how to eat more Italian food and Indian food, and having friends with different languages and cultures, and learning how to dance and speak their language. Like, I learned how to speak a few Russian words like Das Vidanya, Spokojnej Noche, Privet, and then Anya Hanseyo, which is Korean, and Nihoma, which is is it Nihoma? Something like that. They're gonna kill me, and is in Chinese. And it's like fun. It's like you learn new things, you have new friends, and you have more of a support group, and you learn from other people. And then traveling. I mean, when I went to Australia, it was fantastic. I like to learn about new cultures. I learned about the Aboriginal people, which I was disappointed in how they were still segregated, because I just didn't feel that Australians would do the same thing that we did here in America. But they have their issues too. I also took culinary classes because my mom cooked all the time, and I ate out of the box when I moved on my own. I was like, oh, I hate the box. So I learned how to make my barbecue sauce from scratch, learned how to make ribs. And it was great because when I was taking my cooking class, Bette Midler was sitting right next to me. And I have an autograph of Bette Midler. She signed my book, my cooking book. And, like, I take dancing classes. I love salsa. I learned how to do all the spins, and it was beautiful. It's just such a sensual dance. And I learned how to hustle, and I took kickboxing. So I like learning new things. It just makes me feel like a new person because I'm not thinking about my mental illness. I'm thinking about feeling alive. It's beautiful. So yeah, I think everybody needs to learn new things and invest in themselves. So yeah, and a lot of things are free, you know. So don't spend a lot of money on these exercise classes or cooking. Sometimes you can find programs that are free.
Christina, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you make up your mind to invest in yourself and to take care of yourself and to try new things, then your life will be exciting and different and
Yep.
new and worthwhile. So if you want to have an interesting life, try new things. If
You're
you
right.
keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, you're not learning anything new. So open yourself up to the new things, to change, and you're welcome in some great experiences.
Yeah, and you know what? Since COVID, my Instapot has been my best friend. I make chicken, was it pork tenderloin, and I make chicken piccata. My air fryer, I made some fried chicken. I mean, I've been cooking. I'm an expert now.
All right.
Yeah. So number 8, thank you. Me too. I'm so happy. With anyone because I can't have anybody in my apartment. It's not safe, you know. So, but I'm happy. So the 11, what I find is called listen more. Whew. I think a lot of times in general, people, we just listen to speak. We don't even listen to what the other person's saying. And I think that's not validating to the other person. And we need to learn how to listen more, active listening, as we learned as peers, so people could feel validated, respected, and appreciated. Everybody's voice is important. And so I find myself, and as well as a lot of other people, not taking the time to listen more. So I have to practice it myself because it means when people know that they're being listened, they feel appreciated. They want that relationship. They know that you care. They feel your heart when they know they're being listened and heard.
I tell you, Christina, if someone is not listening to you, you know, and it hurts. So don't hurt people. Take the time to listen. Don't just sit there and wait and go, yeah. I'm waiting for you to finish so I can speak. You know, no, that's not listening. Listening is actually sitting there and hearing what the person's saying and thinking about what they're saying and how that could affect you, how it affects them, what they're going through, and really try to understand what they're trying to communicate to you. And once you get that underneath your bag, you'll be an expert at listening. Those 3 things: listening for understanding, listening for to be understood, and listening to learn something. Learn what that person's trying to communicate to you. And that way you can be a good listener. And the one thing I got to say is my strongest skill is listening. Not talking, but listening. And hearing what people are saying and being able to, on my feet, think about it and translate that into how that helps me and other people.
That's great. That's good you honed in on that skill.
Yeah. Excellent, Pearl.
Thank you. So my number 10 is learn when to change for the better. Mm-hmm. So my girlfriend Betty Fox, right? She passed on 9/11, and she was thank you. She was a elder at the job, and I've always liked to speak to elders. But Betty, she was strict. She put me in my place in a second. I'd be like, damn, Betty. But I've always appreciated it because I think that I like lessons. I've always appreciated people teaching me new things and helping me to better myself. And so Betty always said, you could do wrong for so long that you think wrong is right. So we have these bad habits and we always will stick to them, but they're not always good for yourself or other people. So you have to learn them to change for the better. And she taught me that very early, very early. And every time like if I'm training somebody, like it's a new employee, I would give them some words of wisdom, and I would mention the story of Betty. And so that would stick with them. So when they're trying to make decisions or, in life or whatever, don't always think that you're always right. You can do wrong until you think wrong is right, which is not always right.
That is deep.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. It affects your relationships and everything. Just because you're doing it for all the time doesn't mean it's right.
It really does.
Yeah. So also like I have another one called invest in yourself too, is number 9. Buy something that makes you feel good. I mean, sadly, it's like I can't really shop now because of COVID. But like I like earrings. Like I love silver. And but if right now if the stores are open, I would definitely buy myself some silver to make me feel good. That's like my feel good type of thing. Do you have anything that makes you feel good when you buy it or
Yes, I like jewelry.
You like jewelry too, yeah.
Yeah, so I like gold. You like silver, I like gold, but
you gold, yeah.
I can't help it. And getting nice pieces of jewelry makes me feel so happy. And I'll wait years until I get the right piece.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah. And I mean, if we were able to travel, I would definitely travel. I mean, I liked Vegas when I went to Vegas years ago, and they had some really nice jewelry shops there. They were very to me, like one of a kind type of things. And they were expensive, but it was like, I did buy some pieces, but I still have them. It was years, and I just have to clean them, but they're nice.
Nice.
So number 8, I says value and never exploit your value your peers to support and never exploit them. And sometimes people, we can get in the habit of just like being codependent and being so dependent on them to help us with everything. And we need to be self-sufficient somewhat. And I remember one time, 2008, when the economy crashed and everybody was broke and everything. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my rent? So my girlfriend, she paid my rent for 1 month. And I was like, yo. And what I did is when I got my job, I paid her back within the same month. Like I divided up my paycheck and I gave her 1 month, the whole month the next time I got paid, because I always valued her. Because I think that sometimes people, when you give things to people, say they're going to give it back, sometimes they don't give it back, and it just messed up the relationship. So if you're going to give money to somebody or any property to somebody, just consider it as a gift to the person sometimes, because if they say they're going to give it back, if you say in your head, okay, it's a gift, it's a gift, it's a gift, if they don't give it back, you won't get upset. But to me, I respect my support group. So if they give me something, trust me, I will give it back to them the same way they gave it to me, because that keeps that long-term relationship and trust going. We're getting older and we need a support group.
I like to say that I have a village of people it takes to support me so that I can stay sane and healthy. And I have my village of people surrounding me. And that village comprises of my psychiatrist, my therapist, my acupuncturist, my mom, my sister, my brother, my husband, my friends.
The dog. The doggy.
Huh?
Your dog.
And all the people in my cell phone that I text on a regular basis, which includes Christina Sparrock. She knows I send out these brick emails all the time on my text. And that's my village. And those people mean the world to me. And we all have to have a group of people caring about us, or then we're alone. Yeah. So at one time I was alone. And I said to myself, I never want to be in this spot again. So I quickly started building that village. And once I started building that village, I never stopped.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. So here's another one. When I first started working in accounting, let me explain the backstory. So when I was studying for my Cpa exam, my certified public exam at Hofstra, there was a man who was a partner at a CPA firm. And he was like, wow, you study a lot and this and that. And I knew all the answers. I took out 10 years worth of CPA exams. And I was like, that one's right. That one's right. He was like, whoa, because he kept taking the exam and failing it. And I was like, I can't afford to fail. I have to pass it. And so I was studying and studying and studying and studying and studying. So when I passed it, no, he goes, you know what, Christina, if I study with you and you help me pass this exam, I'll get you a job at a CPA firm. I said, okay. So he came when we were studying all the time and he passed the exam.
Hey.
So he got me a job at a CPA firm. So one of the lessons that he told me, like you always, when you come in, I always look for a mentor. And I think it's important for people at a firm who are nice people to give you some messages, you know, the do's and don'ts of the organization or pearls, like you said, to live by. He said, always be nice to people on the way up because you'll meet the same people on the way down.
That's right.
He was right. So I always did that. And it was funny because the people who didn't treat me nice, I always met them when they were coming down. So, you see, you should have treated me nice.
That's right.
Right. And plus, I always think about what would Jesus do, because Jesus always went around trying to be nice to everybody. And sometimes people didn't treat him right, but when they had to come back to get his blessings or help, Jesus was a nice person. He was a loving, kind person. He helped. And I'm not an intentional bad person, but you know, I don't want to do anything to anybody else so they can come back to hurt me. So that was a good lesson for me.
That was a great lesson. And I think people don't understand that when you go through situations, it's not like you go into isolation when you're going through. No, everybody around you sees you going through, and they're watching. So if you're mean and nasty and you treat people horribly, then most people won't help you.
Yep.
Most people won't extend a hand. But if you're nice and you're kind and you're helpful like you are, then people will want to help you, and they try and help, and they do extend a hand, and they do take time to listen because of the kind of person you are. So yes, be good. That was one of the wisest things someone ever told you. Be good to all people, because the same people who you were mean to today will be the same people who's you got to kiss tomorrow, okay? Because they're in charge.
You're so right. So number 6, I said, don't have high expectations of others. And this was my mistake when I was growing up. I always believed that, because I was always very generous and giving, because I wanted to be. But I also thought that when you gave out, you get back the same. Because it was like, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And that's what it said in the Bible or something like that. So I was like, oh, if I do this, I will get this in return. But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I get my blessings in other places, and I didn't know that. So I used to get so upset when people didn't give me back the love I gave them. But I learned, and I had to learn later in life, and now I understand it. So don't be, try to avoid disappointment and pain. Be hopeful that the person would give you something back. But if they don't, just say, okay, it's a wash, and it will be all right.
It will be all right. And I think the pearl here is, don't miss the pearl. Give generously. Give generously. That's where your blessings lie, okay? If you want to know any other way to get blessed, you want to get blessed, then you give to other people. You help somebody else out. You take the time to mentor someone. You take the time to help someone crossing the street. Those little things are where your blessings come from. Helping others and by being good to others is where your blessings come from. And let me tell you something. God will use your enemy to help you. So don't sit there and assume you think you know how God is going to bless you. You don't know. He can use anybody. So be open to receiving your good and expect good, and good will come to you.
You're right about that. You're right. Preach. All right. So number 5, don't let others define you. So it's like, growing up, it's like my family made me feel that I wasn't worthy. And then society always, not always, generalize, sometimes make you feel unworthy as being, a person of color. And it's difficult. So, if I let people define me, I would have never went to school. I just knew that I had to do it for myself, at least try it. And if I tried and I failed, then that was on me. But I just wanted to be successful. And it's sad because it's like, you know, you have a lot of pressure on women to look a certain way or be a certain way because it's like, it's European beauty. But you can't do that. You have to love yourself and define your own self within your own, be comfortable with your own person, as your own person.
It's so true, Christina. And Christina, I think you're giving them so many pearls. I'm jealous because I'm like, I wish I had this growing up. Somebody would have told me all of this, and it would have saved me so much problems. Hello. But anyway, I just wanted to say on this particular one, it's really important to know that God will bless you. Wait, say the pearl one more time.
Don't let others define you.
Yes. God will bless you when you define yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? When you're not defining yourself by who you're married to, by not defining yourself by what job you have. Don't define yourself by what title you got. Don't define yourself by how much money you got. Define yourself on your own terms. You're a child of God. And if you really want to define yourself in a way that will be all-encompassing, I define myself as a child of God.
Preach.
And that's it.
That's right.
That's it.
Right.
And and everything else is an add-on to that, but it doesn't define me. And I use the BIBLE to define how I will groove, and I have been successful.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's a lot the problem that, including myself, a lot of people do miss because we get so caught up in the worldly, because we get up and we're so bombarded with TV, we're so bombarded with work, we're so bombarded just busy that we forget to pray and forget what our purpose is here. How did we get here? Who lets us breathe every single day? Who gives us everything, and that's God. We forget a lot of times. So it's important to pray and recognize that.
Yes.
So number 4, I say be self-sufficient. When I first moved out, I was like, oh my God, how do I cook? You know? So I was like buying a lot of food out, pizza, which is stupid. And it was like box stuff, and I had to go to culinary school. So, and then it's like learning how to do laundry, do things, and, you know, laundry, cook, clean, and everything, because a lot of times when you start depending on other people, they don't think worthy of you. Learn how to do your own thing. So like if you're living with a partner, don't be dependent on that partner. Be like, look, I could leave you anytime I want to, okay? Because I could take care of myself. You got to have that attitude, male or female. And if not, that person's going to be, and that's a lot of times where the conflict comes in. It's like, well, you're not good enough. You can't do this on your own. You can't. And that's where you start getting that low self-esteem because you don't feel that you're worthy or self-sufficient. Learn how to take care of yourself. So if you do move out with somebody, you can say, okay, fine, it's not working out. I can get my own place and take care of myself. Learn you, take care of you.
Let me tell you something. You only got one person that you're accountable for in this world, and that's you. Because when you die, you die. You don't take anybody else with you. When you came in the world, it was you coming out of your mother's womb by yourself, and you could have been a twin, but the twin didn't come out at the same time as you. You came out by yourself. So I'm trying to tell you, you need to be able to take care of yourself. What I like to say is have your life package together. Yes. Have a source of income. Have hobbies. Have interests. Have things that make you happy. Know what makes you happy, okay? And know what you want out of life and what you want to accomplish on your own before you involve yourself with anyone. That way, when you get involved with other people, you know what your life package is, and you can compare it to that other person's life package, and you see it big, own up to you.
You know, true. That's right. Preach. You got your own pearls. Look at you. Tons of them. So number 3, this is a lot. This is really important to me. Respect your community and your elders. And I remember growing up, that was like a no, you had to respect your elders. And I remember if I ever got in trouble, my elders used to beat me in the street. I used to get in trouble at school. I used to get in trouble at home. And I couldn't say anything because it always ended up going back to my mom. And I might realize that a lot of times some people today, they don't have that level of respect. And I wish they would, but it's important because your elders have looked out for you your entire life. They have opened up bridges and opportunities for you. And so I do ask people, everyone, make sure you always respect your elders, because I mean, they have so much to share, and they've actually sacrificed a lot of their life to allow us to do the things that we can today.
Amen.
Yeah. So number 2, learn your history. Growing up, I mean, Black History Month was only in February, and I think all I learned was about Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and maybe a chapter on Frederick Douglass, whatever. It wasn't that much. And then when I got to college, I was like, really? Oh, really? You know? And then I started to learn more because and then I started watching Roots. No, Roots came in. And then I started saying really and really and really. And then I got to college, I learned more because history wasn't taught in my family. It was so painful for my parents to talk about it. But I think it should have been a conversation, whether it was, in my opinion, painful or not, because I needed to learn. And I think that it would have helped me now, you know, to make better decisions back then, because I made some poor decisions not understanding my history. History helps you with your self-esteem also. Like Black Americans are so deprived of their history that they kind of forgot, they don't really know their identity. But when you think of other cultures, they understand their history, they feel proud. We have, you know, this festival and this festival and this parade, because they can identify with the food, the culture, the music and everything. And many Black Americans can't. And so I think it was very important to give youth, you know, learn your history at a very early age, because it will empower you. It really does.
When you know who you are and where you came from, that gives you a sense of purpose and value. And I can tell you, I took the time, my first husband and I took the time to do research on my family history, and he was able to trace back all the way to 1620, the oldest living relative on my father's side, 1620, and her name was Elizabeth Day.
Oh.
And so when I learned about her, and she went and got freedom for her, she was a white woman.
He must have cried. I'm already cried for you.
And she was married to Kwesi, who was an African slave, and she was an indentured white slave. They had 3 mulatto boys, and they went to a North Carolina court, and they got the freedom for all of them in 1620. And when I learned that history about myself, what could you say to me then? All right? So sometimes you have to be able to know your history in order to be able to stand up today and say, I can do this because my ancestors fought a long time ago for my freedom.
Ooh, that's deep. That's powerful. Yeah. When did you find that out?
I found that out in 1997.
Hold on to that.
I do.
So my last one is pray. You know, number 1 is pray. We all need to pray all the time. Just don't pray when things are going good. You know, when things are going bad or good, just pray all the time, because, you know, I mean, sometimes I do forget to pray, but definitely before I go to bed, I definitely tell God, thank you for giving me another life. And to allow me to live another day. And thank you for allowing me to advocate. And I ask him to support me all the time. And, you know, keep bad people away from me. And because he knows, let's say God is the only being that knows what I've been through, and he knows what's good for me. And so I do appreciate God.
Yes. God is good. You okay?
No, I'm okay. But it's just like, you know, it's important.
Yes.
And your history, touching. I gotta research my history too.
Especially in this time, it's important to pray and never stop praying. Like Christina said, you should have a 24/7, 365 day conversation with God about everything, all the time. He cares about the small things in your life. He cares about the big things in your life. He cares about everything about you because he made you and he loves you. And so he wants you to have a relationship with him. That's why he sent Jesus, so that we can have a relationship with him, so that we can talk to God and we can pray to God and we can have a relationship with God. God will meet us where we're at and elevate us if we spend time with him. You wanted to say something, Christina?
No. You said it all. Thank you. So that was my last one. Thank you.
Wow. Christina. Phenomenal. You did a great job. So Christina, tell us, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
My email address is Christina, is my first name, .advocacy, ADVOCACY @gmail.com. So it's Christina.advocacy@gmail.com.
Okay. Let me tell you about Christina. Christina follows through. So you sent Christina an email because there was something she said today. I know there was something she said today that got right to you, and you want some more information. Christina will reply back to you. She replies back to all her emails. So that's one thing for sure. And Christina, do you have any final thoughts or comments that you would like to share with the audience?
I'm actually working on non-police responses to mental health calls in New York City. You know, we have trained New York City police officers on non-police responses, but unfortunately, a lot of people are still getting killed with disabilities. And so CCIT NYC, so it's www.ccitnyc. We actually had a proposal to submit to City Council, which they didn't pass into budget. So because we want to have like more public health response where we have peers or social workers and clinicians respond to people in crisis, because we need a public health response, not a public safety response. People living with mental health conditions are human beings. We're not like just the other or some kind of specimen. We want to live, we want to survive and thrive and live a productive life like everyone else and be treated like human beings. So please look on that website, ccitnyc.org, to find out more information. And also, definitely as we're going along in our lives, no matter what age you are, just be mindful of the decisions that we make, because I've learned also too, there's always consequences to your actions. And depending on if you don't have if you don't have political or economic status in this country, the outcome could be worse for you. So make sure you be mindful of the decisions that you make, because, you know, things can happen that you don't want to happen. So do a lot of research. You know, protect yourself, get a lawyer, and that's it. Thank you.
Christina, thank you. You are a breath of fresh air. Thank you. Hold a second, I have to get out the door. Hold on. Christina, I apologize. I'll cut that out.
I want to see the dog.
We apologize to our listening audience. What happened was right now I couldn't find my keys and I was just trying to get in the house and wash my hands. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So I was saying that you did a phenomenal job, right?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, we'll pick up from here. I'll give myself a cue. Okay. Christina, you did a phenomenal job. You came and did what I thought you would did, was in this month on a positive, high level, high energy, high information, good information that can be life-saving for some people and life-changing for others. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your pearls. The only question I have for you now is, will you come back again?
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much, Lady Charmaine. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Christina. And well, we have come to the end of our show. This episode of Taboo Talk was done because you are very, very special and you deserve nothing less than what God has promised you. God has promised you a peaceful, happy, joyful, wonderful, prosperous, abundant life. Continue seeking God's face in all that you do, and a wonderful life will occur for you. Taboo Talk, featuring me, your pastor, Lady Charmaine Day, exists to help transfer your mind, body, and spirit, utilizing the principles of Jesus Christ. I promise I will continue to show up every day, every week, with a word in season from subject matter experts as smart and as together as Christina Sparrock, who are living legends like Christina, and who know so much that they can share and give and uplift you just like Christina did. So please continue to tune in for a word in season. Well, until next time, take care of yourself, stay special, goodbye.